the implications of the semi-final results on the verdict of 2024. Nothing is guaranteed, as we saw in the World Cup finals, but to the extent that one can predict an election, do you think the semi-final results make it almost inevitable that Prime Minister Modi and the BJP are likely to come to power in May 2024 again?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't like to call it a semi-final. Because if you call it a semi-final, that means last time when the elections happened in the same 5 states, if you remember, BJP lost 4 out of those 5 out of 5. So that means BJP would have lost out of the final before the Lok Sabha elections. I don't see it as a semi-final, but definitely when you go with the win, it gives you an added advantage. At least psychologically you have an advantage. To that extent, BJP has an advantage. But to draw a conclusive argument that because BJP has won 3 states, they are going to win Lok Sabha is not true. They were ahead any which way, even before these state elections. For any independent observer, BJP was well ahead of India Alliance, and that continues to be the case. But definitely these state elections would have added a bit more psychological, given a bit more psychological advantage to BJP. But I wouldn't draw a direct correlation between what has happened in these states versus what is going to happen in Lok Sabha elections.
What do you think
and
are
I'm
the
saying this both positively and negatively.
Sure. What do you
because,
think?
see, it is quite possible that in assembly elections where the vote percentage wise Congress and BJP are looking closer, it could very well be the case that BJP would have an added advantage and the vote share will go up. But it can go the other way around as well.
Sure. So we'll look at both probabilities in just a moment. The Congress in particular was quite caught off guard when the results finally came out. They were expecting, Prashant, a better performance, particularly in Chhattisgarh and in Madhya Pradesh. You do your own parallel polling, you have your people all across the country. What's your sense of why Kamal Nath and Bhupesh Baghel were caught off guard by the end results? Because they thought their vote bank is intact, they thought they had a good chance of winning. Some of the BJP's initial internal polls also were showing the Congress in the lead. So when you break down this verdict, where do you think the Congress lost the plot and why?
Well, I don't have first-hand experience, but just to make a small correction here, 4 or 5 months before the elections, I was talking to another media channel, and at that time I said on record that to my mind, whatever little understanding I have, BJP is ahead in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh is going to be a close fight. We shouldn't be surprised if BJP pull it off. The reason being, in Madhya Pradesh, I don't think Congress as a unit was ever in position to fight and win. They may think whatever they might have thought, but they were not in contention. In Rajasthan, it was always clear. Chhattisgarh, a lot of people thought, because incumbents, especially the strong incumbents with the strong faces, always gives you this illusion that this person is invincible. We have seen it in case of Telangana, BRS, probably the same was the case in Chhattisgarh. But you have to take note of a couple of things. In Chhattisgarh, Congress was not very strong. Last time they won because of especially this paddy issue on which they catch the imagination, and BJP was caught off guard. But Congress could not repeat the performance in Lok Sabha. If you look at the Lok Sabha election result, which happened after 2/3 majority of Congress in Chhattisgarh, they were literally wiped off. A lot of people said it's a Modi factor, but that might be the case. But reality is in Chhattisgarh, BJP has been quite strong. Secondly, I think Congress has been complacent in Chhattisgarh. They thought that it's just for them to be taking. Second, I'm not so sure about how much this caste-based reservation, Congress making that a central issue, would have hurt them. One need to study it carefully, because Congress's core support base probably would not have liked it as much as Congress think about the issue. So my sense is, for a regional party, when they talk about caste-based surveys, and versus a national party making it a central ploy, might have backfired them in Hindi heartland.
You're saying the Congress wasn't organizationally weak in Madhya Pradesh and therefore it was unlikely that they would win. The same can be said and more about Telangana, where the Congress was a shambles till a few months ago, and their campaign really kicked into life after the Karnataka verdict came out earlier in the year. So if organizational strength is the reason for the defeat of the Congress in Madhya Pradesh, then what explains their victory in Telangana, where their organizational strength was even weaker than what there was in Madhya Pradesh?
Because in Telangana, the vote is largely against VRS. So Congress, first of all, Congress again in Telangana was not in shambles. There was an illusion because in Hyderabad municipal election, Congress did very badly. If you look at the assembly results in Hyderabad city, they are wiped off even today. But Congress in Telangana has never been, even in last election, they were in the close contest. They won about 35 seats out of 117. It's just that after the victory with the political and financial muscle power, VRS, at that time it used to be called TRS, they took a lot of Congress, and that made Congress appear weaker than what actually they have been on the ground. Telangana Congress has never been that weak. One need to study it carefully. If you would have studied it, in rural Telangana, parts of Telangana, what used to be original Andhra, Congress was always strong in Telangana side, especially the combination there, the Reddis, the Muslims and Dalit is a very formidable combination that has traditionally voted for Congress in Telangana. This time there was an anti-incumbency against KCR government, and that helped Congress. And also they ran a good campaign that shows that if you put a good face on the ground, you put effort, there is always an opportunity for you.
Let's
compare that to Madhya Pradesh.
Yes.
Hear me out. Compare that to Madhya Pradesh, where Congress went with the same old guard, the same tactics, nothing new, no new face, no new approach. You are trying to defeat BJP since last 20-25 years in Madhya Pradesh with the same faces, same narrative, same tactics. That's not going to work. Also, make no mistake, BJP, to my mind, BJP's organization, if I have to rate their organizational might in different states, I would rate Madhya Pradesh in top 2 or top 3 organizations across the country. BJP in Madhya Pradesh, their base is very, very sound, they're very strong, and that must be taken care into account before you talk about possibility of them losing Madhya Pradesh. Last time in assembly election, BJP, Congress could pull it off closely primarily because of the 2 regions, Gwalior-Chambal region, where BJP lost out, and also in Ujjain region. This time BJP went ahead. If you remember, in Madhya Pradesh, they announced their tickets, especially in the weak seats, almost 3-4 months before, which has never been the case with BJP. Or usually they don't announce their candidates that early. So they took their lessons from the last time, which turned out to be a very close fight where Congress had an edge, and made the corrections. Compared to that, Congress continued with the same tactics, same faces, same narrative, and that's why they paid the price.